So everyone's talking about AI right now, but 99% of Airbnb hosts have no actual idea on how to use them for their business. Now in this video, I'll show you some of the areas that you can use AI tool that will save you a lot of time, actually make you more money because you're saving a lot of time as well, and put you ahead of the competition in 2025 going into 2026. So guys, if you're new to this channel, my name is PSBK from growairbnb.com. Now we've worked with over 6,000 properties globally over the last 8 years. I've consulted clients with one property all the way to 400, 500 properties, big management companies within UK, abroad, US. We're currently working in Belgium, Australia, in the UK we've got a massive market, and obviously Dubai as well. And the main idea in today's video is a lot of people talk about the AI tools, and I'm like, okay, well, it's great that you understand the AI tools, but you've got to understand what areas in your business that actually requires or potentially would be helpful for you to have AI integrated, and slowly being able to kind of go through those options, opportunity in the right tools will make a massive difference. So look, in today's video, I'm literally going to talk about all the areas that I've seen it myself and I know what works really well to put AI in, and then also your plan for 2025, 2026, because you want to get ahead of your competitions. Here's where most hosts gets it wrong. Now, they think that AI is just about ChatGPT writing guest messages, and more importantly, that is the most basic things that you can do. And even that nowadays, to be honest with you, you and I probably can tell that is a ChatGPT information because there's a certain way ChatGPT writes. But the real power of AI is when it runs your entire workflow. That's actually what AI is all about. Now, these are the actual areas that AI is game changing for your short-term renter business. So in the plan today, I have got 5 major areas and I'm going to go through all of them. The first one being guest communications. Now, AI chatbots that are replying instantly, handling your FAQs and check-in messages and instruction. Now, in reality, look, your channel manager right now probably already does all of the automation of messaging. Now, what I wouldn't be surprised though, is if you think about this way, you're currently paying a channel manager. Sometimes channel managers are too expensive for somebody who's got one unit. Do you need a channel manager just for guest communication, automation? Probably not. At that point, AI chatbots not only will do the work for automation and send all the information, which is what which is probably what's going to happen in the coming years. In hindsight, it's also going to do all of the kind of reply FAQ, as long as you've set up obviously the chatbot to understand certain question needs to be replied in certain way, and that's going to be a game changer for your business. So for me right now is like, if you've got 2-3 properties and you hardly use channel manager, and most of my clients, I ask them what else do they do, and they're like, oh, my calendar's sync, my this is thing, I use my guest comms, but 90% of operators really don't kind of leverage channel managers properly. And lastly, that means that there is no more 2 a.m. guest messages waking you up, and especially with a panic, because at least for sure that when you get a 2 a.m. messages, your chatbot would have already done the work and kind of given them the guidance on where to go and how to solve that problem, if there is any, or the next reply will be, if it's not urgent, we'll be able to touch base with you tomorrow, right? So yeah, another, I think for me, one of the biggest area right now is guest comms, which then leads to having guest better experience. So the second area that you can actually start thinking about AI is on dynamic pricing and also your occupancy rate. Now, look, I'm a big believer that profit is everything. Nobody cares about nightly rate. I actually don't as well. I say to my clients, you can tell me you want to achieve £200 a night on nightly rates, but in reality, if you're only, or before working with me, if you're only getting £200 a night, but then only getting it for 4 nights out, 30 nights, and you're only being booked for like 10 nights, the likely chances are £200 a night is not the right kind of pricing. So the idea here is AI tools that analyzes the local demand, checks competitors' pricing, seasonality, and main thing is updates your price accordingly. Now, for me, I think as an industry, by the way, and if you're a client of mine, you understand this, that there is profit pricing, which you are pretty much just focusing on making an X amount of profit because you want to achieve a longer term booking, versus you might be someone who's not worked with me. You are currently just going by what Airbnb Price Labs recommends you, which again, partly Price Labs and all of this tool are kind of AI generated information because they kind of do exactly what I've just said. However, in reality, if you don't understand your investment, do not just go and get this AI tool because it's actually going to cost you more money. I've seen clients losing money just because they've integrated AI pricing tool into their property, even 1-2 property. Now, the third area that you want to touch base on is reviews and reputation. Now look, in reality, if you look at most of the operators anyway, at some point somebody will give you a not so great review. It doesn't have to be a bad review. It could potentially be just not as great. It's not a 5-star, it's probably a 4-star, and you're thinking you've done everything in your corner to get that right. Having that as a part of, firstly, having this as a part of your KPIs, and something that most operators don't do, is where they fail opportunity because they're not constantly thinking about how to improve guest experience. So what AI will do in this case is, firstly, having that KPI ready, and secondly, being able to draft some quite nice, but also a polite guest review replies that will allow you to keep yourself professional and also not having to spend hours trying to figure out what to go back with. Right? Because eventually one thing you've got to understand is, if you've got an okay or a bad review, if you have a better reply to that bad review, a lot of potential future guests will read that and go, oh, okay, well, actually there's a 2-side to this story. That's one there from the person that stayed and why they're not happy, but also that's actually from the host that we're looking to book, but we felt like we don't want to do it. But actually having that AI tool will allow you to do that. And I think, again, make sure you keep that as a part of your KPIs for this year, because going into next year, more properties, more challenges, you will need to keep an eye on those, because those people who've got great reviews, some bad reviews, but mostly great reviews, are always going to be the people that's going to get booked. So the fourth area that I want you to start thinking about, which I've been very passionate about, and I'm now starting to think how we can integrate AI for our clients moving forward, is around the operations and workflow. Now, there's so many things, by the way, in operations. It could be from the day somebody reaches out to the landlord, where do they input that data? Where do they then take them from that kind of viewing to closing journey? And then once that's been done, you then also have a part of you thinking, okay, offers, agreements, legals, all of that part of workflow. After that, again, look, for me, it's literally like looking at a chart and going, we've got to do this, but that's exactly what AI would do. If you can figure out a way where you can press a button to onboard a property and to be able to or even onboard a lead, right? Because it all starts with a lead going into what you're going to have, and hopefully eventually a property, to your first booking, to your first guest, and rinse and repeat. So there's so much operation and workflow that you can do, but then also little things like, nobody tracks their, and especially, by the way, when I say nobody, it's more of my bigger clients, their maintenance, because it's one thing maintenance being reported from guests, it's how quickly does that get solved, who solves it, what's the cost behind it, is it going to your management client, is it your rent-to-rent, and all of that in between. So again, another beautiful way, if you can understand how to operate through AI and be able to kind of do all of this without having to chase the team and notifying the team, this is going to give you guys so much time back. And the fifth area that something that I kind of feed that through my kind of strategy calls with our clients, is decision making. And this is something that I'm quite passionate about, where when I speak to my clients, I'm like, leaders of the business should be doing this. I try and kind of give them a mindset around, you are not just a business owner who's got a couple of VAs. It's like, you are a business owner, you are the leader of the business, and at the end of the day, leader of the business needs to make better decision for, properties to make money, the business to make money, everyone to be happy, guests to have better experience and stuff. So for me, again, AI can now stress test some of the things that maybe you should be looking at. And for example, that could potentially do your break even analysis in a way that you probably don't have to spend a lot of time, or potentially a profit forecast, or potentially a risk detection in the kind of neighborhood that maybe you're not aware of, right? In reality, there is no more gambling on a property if that doesn't stack up, because AI should be able to do that. And there is ways that I know in future that will protect you from, what I did a couple of days ago, a video around how I save a lot of my potential smaller clients £8,000, or people watching that video will save £8,000 because they're not going to do a bad deal, because a bad deal costs someone £8,000 versus somebody who hasn't got a deal and struggled to get a deal. They're actually better off because at least they haven't got a bad deal that they've lost their money with. So again, guys, another area that I want you to start thinking is decision making. As always, a quick tip here. Look, a couple of things I want you to think about with my advice is simple. Firstly, pick one AI tool for communication, right? Go and search for one and find out one that you think will work. Go and find one for pricing. And like I said, is there an option to be able to do that without having a channel manager? And if so, that could work really well for you, because you probably don't want to go and spend a lot of money on channel manager. And then, for example, we use ClickUp with AI for our clients. Can you go and use ClickUp to be able to streamline your operations to a point that 90% of things are in systems and processes with AI, and the 20% you're making decision to make it work. So guys, I hope you enjoyed another Grow Airbnb video. Now AI for me at the moment, it's up in the air. A lot of people talk about, but nobody actually really use it apart from them saying, I've got an AI agent to do this. I'm like, okay, it's great, but as long as it doesn't give you time back and it hasn't been in process and system, it means nothing to us, right? So for now anyway, hope this video kind of gave you the understanding of different sectors and opportunity within your business that you can potentially take AI and integrate it. I'm going to do a separate video about the tools that I've recently seen our industry about AI, and that could work really well, so that you guys can probably start integrating in your business. But look, if you're new to this channel, my name is Piers BK from growairbnb.com. You can see in my channels, I made hundreds and hundreds of videos. Still kind of makes sense till today's market, because I was talking about guest behavior, calendar management, length of stay, all of these things many years ago that nobody did talk about. And right now we're in a position, we work with so many clients. If you look at our Trustpilot review, we've hit 100 reviews with pretty much client with one unit to I've got client there who's got over 300 units who's given us a review, and in between. And the idea here is we need to make sure that we protect your investment to be able to make sure that you then make money, and to be able to make sure that you get a lot more time back from your business. So guys, thank you so much for watching another Grow Airbnb video, and I'll be back with another video soon.